I don't know, I'm just gonna start. Might as well. Hi, hello, hi, how are you doing? I'm back again here talking to you. And I am I'm quite pissed actually. If you're wondering why you're seeing my face here on this lovely still Friday night. Yeah, I'm a little salty, a little mad. I should be sitting on my couch watching One Piece, but instead I can't do that. Why? Amazon Prime decided it didn't want to have all the episodes. It's not fully caught up, and I'm really pissed about it. I'm on, it stops at episode, damn, I watched a lot, 1011. It shows you all the other episodes, but it doesn't exist. It's not on Amazon Prime, so I'm really annoyed because I thought I had a lot more episodes to go, and now I have to watch them on my laptop. And I don't want to do that. I want to sit on my comfortable couch and watch One Piece. So instead, I'm going to sit here in my chair and talk to you about it. Why? Because I can. The second reason why is because I have a lot of thoughts. I have a lot of thoughts, a lot of feelings, a lot of emotions. I'll say I'm not a big One Piecer. Like, I'm not deep in the show, but I did just like binge like 1,000 episodes. So I think I'm pretty comfortable at this point to talk a little bit more about One Piece. And if I'm not, I'm still going to talk about it anyway because I can. Now, when it comes to the reasons of why I am hella late to this party, and there's probably a bunch of people going, just watching One Piece now. Yeah, I am. And I am actually going to be a big help to the One Piece fandom by doing them a favor with this video. Yeah, I'm talking to y'all. Yeah, because y'all don't help the fandom. Some of y'all make people really don't want to watch the show. And also a couple of my own personal complaints. But yes, welcome. Hi, my name is Kuro, and this is my channel, and this is your cosplayer commentary. Now, I will start off by saying in my long, deep obsession with One Piece, I'm a new One Piece fan. I watched One Piece way back in the old 90s in the time of Toonami, you know, the existence of Toonami, and honestly, I liked it. I liked it a lot. I didn't get far though. The main reason being fillers. I couldn't get past most of the fillers. They're extremely annoying and kind of not a lot of filler, but just some episodes, man, does not need to exist. That's just my personal opinion. Oh, let me also start by saying that everything I'm about to say is also all of my personal opinion. If you don't like it, that's totally fine. Leave a comment down in the section below and complain to me about it or some shit. Like, I'm totally gonna care. And if you do like it, also tell me, because I want to make sure I'm not the only one that feels this way. Maybe I am, and if that's okay, oh well. But if I'm not, that's even better. So, my thing is, started watching One Piece in the 90s, and then fell off, like most people do. I feel like everyone has had that moment of having Toonami just playing the background, and then you get Inuyasha, and you would every so often get One Piece. But it never stuck at all, actually. I watched it, and when I fell off, I really fell off. I didn't touch One Piece till now. And the reason why I'm touching it now is y'all better be happy. I know some of y'all be complaining. Y'all better be happy. The live action. Ain't that crazy? Never thought that the live action would be the reason why all of a sudden now I'm at 1,012 episodes. For the most craziest reasons, I sat down on my couch one day, bored as heck. This was actually like the summer of last year, I want to say. No. Thanksgiving last year. I sat down, was bored as hell, heard everybody talking about the One Piece live action, was like, all right, let me give it a try. And why? I'll be honest. You see this complexion? I saw that they had a black character in a live action. I had to watch. Why wouldn't I? And it was phenomenal. I absolutely genuinely love the live action. I think they did a really good job representing characters, representing people without giving too much of that special camp One Piece. Just the right amount, not too much, not too little. And it really got me, and I went, dang, you know what? I think I'm going to sit down and I'm going to watch One Piece again. Also, a lot was going on after November 6th, and I needed a little bit of happiness. And I said, you know what? Why not watch this little cute, campy show about these adventurous kids traveling the world to become pirates? Boy, did I do a lot of crying in this show. War flashbacks. So yeah, as I said, sat down, watched it, started watching One Piece, and started to really get into it. And then I fell off, and then I picked it up again. And when I tell you the amount of anime I've consumed, and mind you, I am a binger. I know some people that like to sit down and they like to watch anime, and they go, "Oh my god, I love watching it weekly." Like, yes, give me my weeklies. Especially, don't get me wrong. Especially when it came to Don and Don was coming out, everyone was like, "Oh my god, Don Thursdays." I think it was on Thursday? I don't know. Again, as you can tell, I'm a binger. I didn't touch it. I didn't touch it at all until it was completely done. And I was like, okay, now let me watch it. Why? Because I need to consume as much of that anime as possible, especially because if it's painful or if it's sad, I need to get through the painful, sad parts. Now, here's where I'm going to come along and try to help y'all One Piecers. When it comes to the show, I personally myself, and I'll say this with pride, I do not think I could have ever been a One Piece fan if not for now. And I feel like a lot of people do get that, but also a lot of people don't get that. Because, like, what do you mean you can be a One Piece fan now, but you couldn't be a One Piece fan before? Here's my explanation. Here's why. One of several things. I'm going to say the most controversial, most annoying thing every One Pieceer already knows is coming to their ears. The show is too damn long. It is long. Let's not hide behind a bush. Let's not pretend like we don't know. The show is hella long. It's so damn long that recently they just dropped articles basically explaining that, hey, we think this is a little too long, so we're going to cut it and trim it down and make it a little bit more easy to consume by the normal general audience. And I agree with that. I think that's a great idea. And for those of you that are like, no, why would they do that? What do you mean One Piece is too long? What do you mean it's not? You're going to tell me that long arc was necessary? You're going to tell me that arc? I sat there through that whole goddamn arc with that stupid silver foxy pirates, and I was like, this is the most... I swear to God, I almost quit One Piece at that point just because of that goddamn arc. There are pieces of One Piece that I feel like is necessary. It's important. It's meaty. It's And then there are pieces that I'm like, oh wow, this is like a bottle episode. And that's nice. It's nice when you have an anime that's only like 3 seasons and you get a bottle episode to enjoy the characters. Not when there's 1,000 episodes. When there's 1,000 episodes, that's when it's time to like call it quits on the bottle episodes. We need to get through this quick. There's too much going on. There's too much happening. There's too much character development for me to be getting random episodes of like Usopp learning how to create fireworks. Now, mind you, that was a really cute episode. I'm not saying that that's not necessary because I really think that episode was really cute, but that's what I'm saying. There's so much going on. I don't think we have enough time for any more thriller. And thank God, I'm now going to explain this in the best way I can by rating the arcs. Not even the arcs, hold on. Because let me also be realistic. The arcs there's so many. I didn't realize how many arcs there were until I started looking up One Piece arcs. And I was like, holy cow. So I'm just going to rate, not even rates, which I always thought the saga names were just the arcs. And then I found out, no, the saga names are not just the arcs. There are several arcs. But anyway, for the people that are interested in One Piece, let me explain it like this. Main story arc, good, important. I think, again, it could skim some of the extra episodes, but that's okay. Also, I've been calling Alabasta this whole time. Tell me if I'm the only one. I thought it was Alabasta until I just read it 5 minutes ago and realized that sucker says Arabasta, which is fine, you know. Arabasta's good. I feel like Little Garden Art could be skimmed a little bit, and Whiskey Peak could be skimmed a little bit, but that's just me personally. Sky Island, great, love it. Water 7 Saga. Long Ring Long Land. That bitch can go. I hate that arc. Water 7, Annie's Lobby, peak within the Water 7 saga. That's fine. Thriller Bark, phenomenal. I love Thriller Bark. There is, again, some parts of some of the episodes that can totally be skimmed. I'm not gonna lie, you can remove some of them. But I think it's funny in camp because of all the zombies and shit. It's good in a way of making me laugh. I laughed so much in Thriller Bark. There's so much shit that goes on. Luffy pushing the zombie back into the ground had me crying for days. I think about it all the time. Then we have the Summit War Saga, which is great. We have Sabaody Archipelago arc, which is within the Summit War Saga. Phenomenal. Amazon Lemony. Again, Still feel like you could have skimmed off some of the episodes within Amazon Lily. That's just me personally. But it still is entertaining in a way where I'm like, okay, this is cute. This is good. And at least it makes sense because Boa, we find out later, is extremely important. This is kind of late in the game, but One Piece spoilers, One Piece spoilers. But yeah, Boa, later on, we find is actually pretty important. So Luffy being an Amazon Lily makes sense. Impel Down, phenomenal. This is all within the Summit War arc, which is a very long arc. I cried a lot in this arc. Like a ridiculous... It has Impel Down in this arc. It's a really sad arc. Mentally prepare yourself for that. Anyway, post-war arc, phenomenal. Nah, I'll leave that one alone. Fishman Island, phenomenal. I love it. It gives me, again, the fun camp. They're trying to give you joy, and I love that. But also, could be skimmed a little bit. But that's just me personally. It has Return to Sabaody, which is great. Fishman Island, again, like I said, skim a little bit. Just a little bit on the top. Then we get to, I feel like after Fishman, or like halfway through Fishman Island, they kind of realize, like, we don't have enough time to keep throwing in these random, like, episodes and all this other shit and blah, 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 blah. And then they're like, okay, we gotta, like, pick up the pace because we're running out of time. And also, there's a crap ton of episodes. Dressrosa Saga, like I said, cutting down, they start cutting down from there. So we get Dressrosa, phenomenal, because it has Punk Hazard in it, and I enjoy Punk Hazard. That's when we get Law. Yes, give me more. That was great. Learning about Law, we get to learn Punk Hazard, we get to learn about Law's backstory, then the Dressrosa arc, great, love that. Again, getting through it. Watching Zora fight, what's his name? I always want to call him Pencil. His name is not Pencil. What's his name? Oh no! I always forget because it's funny as hell because the dude was like, had the squeaky voice. What was his name? It's not Pencil. That's a horrible... Oh well, can't remember. The big dude with the squeaky voice. That's all I remember. I'm terrible. I might cut this part out because I'm that embarrassed. Anywho, yeah. So getting through Dressrosa, good. Again, a lot of good things. Enjoyed it. Very tasty. Very mindful. Very demure. Very quick and to the point. I loved that about Dressrosa. We get to Whole Cake Island. We get to Zoark. That was really cute. I enjoyed it a lot more than I thought I would. The furries got me there. I'm sorry. Let's be real. The furries are adorable. Little creatures had me. I was like, Garchu. Alright, we get to Whole Cake Island. Crazy. Again, I kind of wish a little bit was skimmed off, but at the same time, it made a lot of sense because in the end, if you know, you know, when they're escaping from Big Ma, you're kind of like, damn, that forest is a pain in the ass. Like, a lot of stuff's going on. But it was really cute, and it was camp, and it was giving Alice in Wonderland. And I love Alice in Wonderland. So again, very good, quick to the point. That's all within Whole Cake Island. Then we get to the land of Wano, which is where I'm at right now. And I honestly haven't gotten past Wano, so that's where I'm at right now because of flipping Amazon Prime stopping me from being able to enjoy my content. That's all this really is about, is just me complaining about the fact that I can't watch One Piece right now. But all that to say, the contents and pieces of One Piece is really good and enjoyable. You can enjoy the show for a lot of reasons. And there's a lot of good concepts within One Piece and a lot of deep, serious conversations and topics that I feel like a lot of animes don't touch on as much. Or they do, but they kind of don't. But they kind of do, but they really don't. And they don't have... Like, One Piece is probably one of the only animes I've been able to experience and watch where it genuinely has despair that's not in a despair horror content kind of way. Because you have, like, shows where they talk about the subjects of despair or they show the subjects of despair, but there's, like, no out. While One Piece is like, we're going to show you despair, but we're also going to give you a hero to get them out of the despair. And it's funny because you have shows... I'm going to reference to other animes, but you have shows like My Hero Academia where they have a hero and a villain. And even though they have a hero and a villain, there is no... I feel like within My Hero, there is no pit of despair that has been long. Like, it's... What's interesting about it is that My Hero, everyone's going through all the stuff. Oh my god, superheroes, super power superheroes. You know, all this stuff is happening, right? And you're like, wow. And then you have the villain. and it's one for all, and he was evil and blah blah blah. But at the end of the day, one for all is still technically he's sort of kind of a human being. That motherfucker, yeah, like he lived for, how do I say this? He lived for several generations, but he wasn't causing problems during the several generations that he was alive because All for One existed. So there was always like a balance between the two. So the world never experienced true despair and sat in it. One Piece, on the other hand, and mind you, this is not me trying to say My Hero is better than One Piece or that One Piece is better than My Hero. I'm just using comparison of a show that, like, they're both very kiddish and very cutesy, but I feel like one thing that had caught my eye and the reason why I am watching One Piece or have gotten through so much of One Piece without quitting is, one, I'm a crazy person and I binge too much goddamn anime and I actually genuinely do believe I have a problem. But two, which is more important, One Piece has serious topics in a way that I feel like a lot of other animes do not. And again, those conversations that a lot of other animes are not comfortable with touching, such as slavery, such as assault, such as death, such as, I mean, mind you, like a lot of animes do talk about death, but the way One Piece shows past experiences with death, there's nothing to compare that to. Like, another example, you got one of the big three, you got Naruto. Naruto deals with death, and like, oh my god, the villagers, and like, oh my god, they died from the nine-tailed fox destroying the village, and that's despair, and they're sad and they're upset. And poor Naruto, the main character, he goes through a lot of despair, which is why I like Naruto, and I might have a conversation or a video about that later. All that to say that while Naruto talks about despair in a way of, the main character and going through his own perspective and his own mind and his own thoughts, it's really not really the same. Because Luffy, on the other hand, yes, he deals with sad things in his childhood life, like, at the time thinking Sabo was dead. But that's it. That motherfucker really didn't go through a lot of despair. Like, he wasn't despaired, but his friends were, and the people around him were, and the world within One Piece has a lot of despair. There's a lot of slavery, a lot of sadness. At one point, not Robin, in the Summit War saga between Sabaody Archipelago arc, when they all get separated, if you know, you know, we're watching everybody go through different stuff. But then you realize in the world of One Piece, there are people that don't have the Straw Hat Pirates to save their lives. Like, for instance, that really kind of crazy part where Robin just got sent to, like, I don't want to say an internment camp. What the hell are they called? I'm going to say Constitution camp. That is not the word. Here it is. I said Constitution. I'm dumb. It's concentration. I'm silly. Okay. Robin got sent to a concentration camp. Let's be realistic. That's crazy. And, like, technically it's not a concentration camp. They never say it is. But there's a lot of underlying things within it that kind of give that energy and that vibe. So there's a lot of, again, like I said, just despair-filled topics within One Piece. Again, like, for instance, the fishmen. The fishmen going through slavery. And the fishmen being kidnapped and taken. And, the mermaids specifically for their beauty being taken and then used as pets, and the fishmen, there's so many underlying conversations within One Piece that really got me watching the show more than just every other anime I've ever sat through. Which, again, like I said, the show is still long as hell. I'm not telling you that the show is not long as hell or you're not going to be fighting for your life, because I sure as hell was, especially with Long Island arc. I hate that arc. I hope to God they get rid of that arc. I'm petty. That's just me. But all that to say, in my tangent of tangents, the process of getting through One Piece has you opening up deeper conversations or conversations with an anime that I feel like subjects that I feel like most animes are not comfortable to touch, One Piece does touch on. And that's why it's like, what did they say? Oda is like number 7. Like, he is number 7 in the world's most sold books in the world or something like that, or most sold books in the world. He is at number 7, like that, somewhere around there. That's kind of insane, but it shows how many people can relate and understand and grasp what's going on within One Piece. And also, the show's been going on for so goddamn long that, like, there's so many chapters and so many mangas and so many animes and episodes, and there's so much going on. Not that it's wrong. I love this. Oda, if you ever see this, I'm a big fan. Send me a Luffy hap. I will literally cry. I will be so happy to have one. I probably will have or make a straw hat at some point. I don't know how I would do that, mind you, because I do not have any sort of straw hat making skills. But is it possible? Yes. Would I make it out of foam? Most likely. There's no way in hell I'm making a straw hat out of actual straw. That is skill and strength and ability that I don't have. So, yeah, there's that. But all that to say, again, I've gone on like 15 different tangents. One Piece's peak. It's just too damn long. I'm pretty sure I will drop somewhere in the description down below. Like, there is like 1 or 2 websites you can go to where people will tell you what episodes to watch on One Piece that are important and the ones to skip. And that way you can get through One Piece in a way that's more consumable to the regular audience. And for those of you that are like still mad that I am complaining about One Piece being long and it's the most generic, like, oh, it's the most generic complaint that everyone says about One Piece. Well, that's why. If everyone's complaining about that explains why. But as a regular heifer watching One Piece, to those people that don't want to watch One Piece, watch it. It's actually really good. I really enjoyed it. There's a lot of, like, there's a lot of conversations, a lot of things. I don't want to spoil too much, but I also want to convey that this show actually genuinely does feel peak. But also, I'm gonna need y'all to give Usopp his fucking color back. Give that nigga his melanin back. What did he do to y'all? What is that about? They took Robin's melanin, they took Usopp's melanin, they took a little bit of Frankie's melanin, but he didn't really have a lot of melanin. They took Zoro's melanin. Everybody was a lot more colored, and they took all their color. And I was like, okay, well, you know, I'll let everybody else go. But why'd y'all take Usopp's color? Disrespect. I don't get it. That's just my personal opinion. Honestly, I don't also complain. I literally just wrote One Piece's peak, but it's too damn long. So yeah. Thank you so if you got to the end of this video and you like this video, don't be afraid to like, comment, or subscribe. I hope you enjoyed watching me rant and complain about One Piece, but also telling you the love of One Piece. Again, phenomenal characters, phenomenal show, animation's gorgeous. I can go on, honestly, another rant about the animation alone, but I just wanted to talk about the long-ass arcs, and also I want to convey people that haven't seen One Piece to go watch One Piece, because I need other people to talk to about One Piece. And I understand why people are obsessed with One Piece when they first watch One Piece, because One Piece is pretty good. But I will also admit out loud, that bitch is too long. Also, some of the jokes don't age well, but that's okay, because I feel like it aged fine. It didn't age well, but it aged okay, you know? It could have aged worse, I think. I don't know. But yeah, thank you so much for watching this video, and you have yourself a wonderful, fantastic, great, amazing, find the goddamn One Piece night.